guys, Ralph here. Welcome to True Power Trumpet Fitness on this thrilling Thursday here in Connecticut. Life's good, guys. Life's good. As I said all week, nothing tomorrow or the rest of the weekend. We'll catch up with you on Monday. Anyway, yeah, you saw the thumbnail. Power, baby. As you know, that's a biggie with me. Anyway, let me talk. I have played. I've played quite a bit. My chops feel great. So let's see what we got. Anyway, after 2 hours of practice, double C's locked in as usual, and I went over that with a student yesterday. Another video, and the G's killing it. Carrot, tomato, celery, cucumber, and bell pepper. Life's good, man. Anyway, power. Now, as you know, tone and power are very, very closely related. A big tone, a weak tone. A brilliant tone, a rich tone. I mean, they're very, very closely related. But since they are so important to any trumpet player going forward, I separate them and consider them a category unto themselves. Now, as you know, the old fart that I am, guys, I feel this is probably the biggest difference between guys of today and what I consider to be the golden age of brass. Everything is so much more contained, so much, for lack of a better term, weaker. Okay? And I am, guys, I have to say, please, trolls, hear me out. I am not saying one is better than the other. I'm just saying I prefer one over the other. That's all. That's all. Okay? Now, a lot of that has to do with the state of the music business. Guys, the Metropolitan Opera and Mel Broyles did not have a microphone 2 feet, down in the pit. They didn't back then. When he's playing a Rosenkavalier or Electra, man, he had to hit the back, the back wall, bounce it off the chandelier, all this sort of stuff. John Ware, Vacchiano, same thing. Herseth, live from Symphony Hall, they didn't have 20 microphones hanging from the ceiling like they do now sometimes. No. And the recording, the lead players, no. You look at Stan Mark, you look at Nick Drozdoff, there's no microphone right there. When they take a solo, sure, they come out and they hug the mic. Got it. But guys, this was a different time completely. And guys, I'm not knocking that. I'm not knocking that. I just saying I prefer the sound of the golden age of brass. Now also, there's a difference between a soloist and a section guy. Okay? Wynton Marsalis's tone would not work as a lead player, but he never had to. Since the day he was born, once again, there was a microphone that far from his bell. When he plays back in the section with his band, he plays fourth. Okay? Miles Davis, that sound wouldn't, and that power, that wouldn't work in the Chicago Symphony. And no reason that it should. No reason that it should. Okay? But that's what's going on. I mean, Gazzo, Conrad Gazzo, are you kidding me? Compared to these guys today, it's a different approach. And I'm not knocking the guys today. My God, Wayne Bergeron, Perico, all those guys, they sound great. They sound great. Now, Perico's strong. What's his name? Bataillon is strong. There's some strong players out there, but generally speaking, because of the nature of the beast, it's a different sound. It's a different sound. Now, Again, I grew up every single Sunday afternoon. The guys would get together, and in college, instead of watching the football game, we'd get our chips and salsa and our wings and all this sort of stuff, and we would listen to the Live from Symphony Hall broadcast in Chicago. Didn't matter if it was Mahler Fifth or some Mozart thing. We had to have our Herseth fix. Just had to have it. Mel, I mean, I grew up on that. 18 years old, I'm sitting next to him. I had access to him for several years. Just call him up, ask him a question, blah, blah, blah. And also, all of us at Mannes, if you studied with the Philharmonic, whatever, we all had almost 100% passes to whatever we want. Most of them were backstage. We couldn't get primo seats. But guys, if I wanted to hear, a rehearsals I loved. You hear, Pavarotti rehearse, warts and all. It was awesome. Okay, so we had access to, I had Mel Broyles in my ear, as you know. John Ware, that is what I was brought up on. What's going on today is not that. Okay? And I'm not saying that is bad. I'm not. Chris Martin, Dave Bilger, I go after them with the straining and all this sort of stuff. It's a different thing. And within their context, they sound terrific. They sound terrific. I'm not knocking it. Were they Herseth and Broyles? No. Is that fair to them? No, because nobody was Herseth and Broyles. But I will say this. Batayan, if I'm pronouncing it right, is real close. I wouldn't put him there yet, but he is real close. And do I put him ahead of Bilger and Chris Martin? For the reason of power? Absolutely. Absolutely. Doesn't mean you have to, and as I said, I am not knocking anybody. Okay? Jazz. Okay? Chris Bodie. Tremendously talented player. Tremendously talented player. Compared to Louis Armstrong? Right? Tone and power, it's a different thing. And I'm not saying that if I had the luxury of being a soloist and had a microphone that far from my bell, I wouldn't be doing the same thing. Now, I told you before, a very, very good friend of mine, Jim Hines, who we went to school together, very, very strong lead player. Grew up, came up via the drummer bugle corps. I mean, that is where he came from. We went our separate ways for a while. And then when I hooked up with him, years ago, he was playing lead trumpet on the Broadway show Cats. And I was going in to listen and hopefully get some subs down the road. Okay, closed before I actually got the subs. But anyway, guys, this knock the wall down, drag out, just kill lead player, all of a sudden is playing this big. Okay? Sounded great. He didn't miss a thing. It was in tune. It was centered. It was brilliant. But it was very, very small. Okay? I asked him about, Jim, what's up with the power? And he says, Ralph, I'm just so sick of blowing my brains out. And the fact of the matter is, the section has to adjust to me. So that was just a given. And he said at intermission of my first night, the sound man came up and said, is that the way it's going to be? Because it was a lot different from the lead player before. He says, yeah, that's going to, he says, okay. No problem. Just cranked him up. He sounded like, I went to some shows at Cats. He sounded like Gonzo out in the house. This big. Now he's a tremendous, tremendous player. One of the best freelance players in history of Broadway and recording. Not knocking him. I'm just saying the approach is different. All right? Tone and power. I love a big sound. I teach all my students in that realm. And I believe in Doc Severinsen completely. When he was asked the question, he said he firmly believes that if you do the bulk of your practice correctly with a nice full sound, not blasting your brains out, but a nice full sound, the saw playing will be there. And also, The triple forte will be there as well. If all you're doing is practicing, if that's all you're doing for an hour or two a day, when it comes time to blow the walls down, it's not there. That's what Doc said, and I agree with him completely. All right? All right. Anyway, we'll talk next Monday. Have a great weekend. I don't think it's going to be as great as the one I'm having, but try. Anyway, eat and drink your fruits and vegetables and live your life with true power. Love you all.